I wish you could smell my office right now. It smells like Disney's Riviera Resort with the scent that I have going in my diffuser. But it has been literally a week. I think it's a week today. Yeah, it's Tuesday. It is a week today since I have been back from my trip. It is time for the trip report and all the things that worked, that didn't, my thoughts, all that fun stuff. So let's get into it. For this trip, I used my dad's timeshare points and I stayed off-site at the Silver Lake Resort in Kissimmee, Florida. I have stayed there before. If you saw my travel day video, kind of had like a little full circle moment and realizing that I had stayed there like whenever I first started to do this. And full circle was things are falling into place the way I had envisioned them all the way back whenever I first started to do this. So it was just kind of like a wow kind of moment for me. But the resort itself was very pretty and it's very quiet. Now the room that I stayed in was a king bed bedroom with a little kitchenette in it, and it was a little dated. It was a little rough around the edges, but I was mainly in the parks most of the time, and it served the purpose for what I needed. Now I did not go into staying at this resort with the expectations that I was staying at like deluxe level style. So my expectations were met with what I needed for this trip. For the room itself, like the window like openings, I am someone who likes sun. I like sun to come in. I like sun to be surrounding me, and I could not open the blinds. Like it was so hard to open the blinds. Even to get out to the patio was hard to open the sliding door, and I didn't even show outside on the patio because it was not pretty. It was quite ugly, to be honest. And there was like a compressor thing, I think it was for the air conditioning, that was so loud out there. I'm also someone who loves to sit outside, and it wasn't even enjoyable to sit out on the patio, so I didn't even show it. I didn't even do a room resort tour for this because there was just, I didn't see a point, to be honest. At first I was going to do one, and then as the trip progressed, which we'll find out later as I get into this, is I had to cut quite a few videos that I thought I was going to film just because of how tired I was, how hot I was, and the brain power cells that I did not have. So that was one of those that had to get cut because I just could not get it done. The biggest complaint that I had about the room was the air conditioner itself. So when I was in the bed, the air conditioner unit was very up high. It was above the kitchenette, and the numbers on there that told you what the temperature was when the lights were all out at night was so bright and so illuminating that I almost couldn't sleep. Even through Disney Tired, and if you know what Disney Tired is, then you know that I really could not sleep. Like the light was just so bright. So that was probably the biggest thing. It was just illuminated the room, and I like for it to be dark whenever I'm sleeping. Other than that, like I said, the room was fine. There was a fan in the room, which I really do appreciate having a fan in the room. The air conditioner worked very well. It was very cold. Again, I like for it to be nice and cold, especially if I'm coming back to the parks and like just decompressing. I like the cold air, and I like for it to be fairly like low light in the room as well, just to decompress from all the stimulation. I enjoyed having the kitchenette with the mini fridge that actually kept things very cold. In fact, some of my fruit like froze because it was so cold. The microwave as well, which I never ended up really using. And then it also had cabinets full of like silverware, cups, bowls, plates, you know, all of that. A little bit of dish soap, sponge for me. So I did appreciate having that in the room, and I did utilize quite a bit of that during my stay on the trip. The pool is also very nice. It's very blue. The vibe out there, the energy out there is nice. Just having a low level music that was playing, and I really just enjoyed the whole ambiance of being out there in the evening. I was only able to enjoy it one day, and that was on my arrival day, but just I sat out there working and then just sat out there, like was just there, just in the moment. Everything was shut off. No phone, no computer, no nothing. Yeah, and just sat there and just soaked up the Florida sun and the energy of being around the pool, which I love that kind of thing. In terms of placement of the resort, if I had my own car, I would have explored a lot more. It is literally like one major road away from a ton of stuff. Target, Publix, Walmart, normal food, Chick-fil-A, you know, all of that stuff. So it's kind of like tucked away on a road, on one back road. So it's very quiet. But like I said, once you turn out onto the main road, it's like you're there in Kissimmee. All the things that you could possibly need is right there, you know, at normal pricing and stuff that you need. So like I said, if I had my own car, I probably would have explored just a little bit more, but it was just a little too much to sit there and order a rideshare everywhere that I wanted to go and explore. So maybe next time, maybe next time we'll have to like have a car, rent a car, or drive. I don't know if I can drive. It's quite a long drive for me from Texas. I don't have the patience for it. And in terms of location for the park, so I was like right outside of the Disney bubble. In fact, the resort itself butted up next to Disney's Animal Kingdom. So the furthest that I had to drive was about 17 minutes, and that was to Magic Kingdom. And that's almost sort of normal if you're on Disney property, because Magic Kingdom is one of those parks that's like one of the furthest out from everything else, like all of the resorts. So honestly, it was not bad at all in terms of how long or how far it took to get to all of the parks. So yeah, so it was a great location in terms of Walt Disney World itself, and then other things that I needed like in the area. I did utilize rideshare on this trip, and I did both Lyft and Uber. For the most part, I mainly did Lyft, but there was one time, and like I always say, you always want to download both apps just in case rides, like you can't get a ride on one of them, or prices are just astronomical on one of them. And that is what happened on one day. For some reason, Lyft was just like so expensive. I went to Uber and I was like, oh yeah, so much better. But for the most part, that is what I did, is I used Lyft the entire time. I spent $292 on rideshare for the entire 8 days. So for my airport trips, I would schedule about $45 for a standard car, which fits up to 4 people. So it was roughly like $41 coming to the resort, and then like $43 going back to the airport. Remember, timing wise, it has surge pricing and that kind of thing. So that's why it was kind of like on different price levels. In terms of like getting to and from the parks, it was between $12 and $20. Again, just depending on the time of the day and that kind of thing. But if you're trying to budget, just to have a little bit of leeway and to make sure that you have enough in your budget, I would budget $20 per ride that you're going to be doing. Like if you're in the Kissimmee area, or if you're in like the Celebration area, if you are staying off site. And those prices do include the tip that I gave. Now, I usually tip ride shares like I do if I'm dining at a restaurant. So between the 20 to 25% usually. On the last day of my trip, I did ask if you had any questions on Instagram about the trip specifically, and I did get a question about using rideshare like really late at night. So like after Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party specifically. Now on the first two, actually any night that I was in Magic Kingdom, I was in Magic Kingdom after 12:30 a.m. So that got me getting rides at like 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. After Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I didn't get back to my resort until 2 a.m. Just to give you a little behind the scenes of like how late that I was there. And to answer your question, it was not hard at all, because that's like peak time. Rideshare is very popular in Orlando because of all of the tourist places. So the drivers really know when the times are to like make their money. So it's not going to be hard to be able to get a ride at all. And being that late, the pricing was also not that bad either. Now, whenever you go into the app for the rideshare app, you can choose, like you can get a ride right away, which is going to be your most expensive. You can wait 15, 20 minutes, you can wait 30 minutes, and then the pricing will reflect that. 9 times out of 10, I always picked wait. Like I could wait that 17, 20 minutes for a ride and pay a decent amount that I was willing to do. And whenever I did that and I was sitting there and I was waiting, I would either get on Instagram and get on stories and like talk to you, like all the thoughts that I had. So it just kind of gave me time to like collect my thoughts and get all of like the notes put in my phone, yeah, and stuff like that. So sometimes I like to do that, just take a minute and get all my thoughts together, talk to y'all, and then get the ride. Because once I step into the ride share, it's almost like I melt and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I have officially clocked out for the night. But no, it is not hard at all to be able to get those ride shares really late or early, however you want to look at it. When it came to eating on this trip, I did something a little bit different. I was, number one, very self-aware. Okay, so knowing that my appetite is changing dramatically as I get older, I just don't need as much. Number two, the season is so incredibly hot, and I don't like to eat heavy when it is hot outside because it makes me feel miserable. The next thing I wanted to do a video on eating healthy-ish and then also like on a budget. So specifically when I was in the parks, I ate kids meals. All but 2 of them were kids meals. One of them was at Casey's Corner and I did have nuggets, and the only reason I didn't get a kids meal is because I don't have kid meal portions at Casey's Corner. And then I also did like a breakfast, and again, they just don't really have like a kids meal breakfast. It was in Magic Kingdom that I ate. All the other meals I ate strictly from the kids meal specifically. Another thing, this is just going to give you a look at like what you can possibly do. The reason why I say this is because I have ADHD, and if you know, you know. I can have a laser focus on something and literally forget to eat and just not eat. I can go an entire day and not eat anything and then wonder why at the end of the day that my stomach is growling, I have no energy, my head hurts, and it's because I haven't eaten anything or drank anything all day either. But as I get older and understanding how my body works and my mind works, I am a little bit more intentional about stopping and eating. To say all of that, I did not have like 3 full square meals every single day on my trip. So this will just give you a look at like what you can budget for and like the options that you have. So for 8 full days there at Walt Disney World, I spent $196.87. So that was kids meals in the parks. I did have 2 coffees. I refilled a popcorn bucket twice. I did have 1 alcoholic drink. I also had 2 snacks at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I had 1 ice cream treat because I treated myself. And then I also did have like 2 burgers at the resort that I stayed at. Oh yeah, and then the Target run. Also like those little things that I got to fill in. I spent about $30 there at Target getting all of that stuff. I will be going more in depth in the video whenever that comes out about the kids meals specifically. But with the kids meals, the thing that I loved the most about it, it was basically an all-inclusive. So you got the meal and then you also got a drink in it. I did not spend more than $11 on a meal and still got all of that. When it came to like ordering at like Casey's, where I had to order the meal, I also got the plastic cheese because I had to have the plastic cheese, and I had to order the drink. That came out to about $19. I think it was like $18.82 to be exact. But knowing that it was basically an all-inclusive meal with the kids' meals, absolutely a win as far as cost goes. So I think the lowest that I spent was around like $9, like $9.04. And then the highest was probably at like that $11 price point, which is not bad for eating in the parks. Absolutely not. Whenever it came to the coffees, I did go to Joffrey's and order the coffee there, especially after I learned that you get annual pass discounts at Joffrey's locations. So the coffees with the discounts roughly cost about $5.78, and for a fairly good size. I would say it would be the size of a grande. Yeah, I think so in terms of like Starbucks leveling. And then of course I brought my popcorn bucket from home, which was still in the same year that it was sold because I bought it in March, and I filled that up twice, and that was $2.25 for a big popcorn bucket refill, which was great, and I was able to snack on that and have something salty. The ice cream cone itself cost $7.23 for 1 scoop, and then the little Mickey ears. I just was in the mood for a little Mickey snack. And then in Epcot, I just literally went into Epcot for like 2 hours on one night. That was my only Epcot vibe that I got, and got 1 alcoholic drink, and it was a 16-ounce alcoholic drink, and that was $12 for the cider that I drank. And then lastly, for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I had the churros and I had the hot honey lemonade, and each of those was like $6.70, $6.80. So total, I spent like $13.61 just at the party itself. A lot of the stuff for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is hot, like has a spice to it. Again, at my age, just the hiccups that I would have had if I would have had like the food there. I cannot handle the savory food at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party because of all of the hot things, the sriracha sauce, all of that stuff just drives me nuts. Lastly, at my resort on my arrival day, I ordered a burger, and then on one of my days that I took like a full day off, I did order another burger and a Coke on that day as well. That totaled out to about $35.28. Yeah, that totaled out to $35.28. And then again, I went to Target and got a few things. So I really wanted like a really big mixed fruit bowl for me to put in baggies and to like have fruit in the parks. But the Target that I went to did not have a good selection, and I just got like they were spears that I was able to only get like 3 days out, 3 days worth of them. I did have to like cut some of them up because they were like a big chunk. That is how I like made them last. I will say, I'm on the right track for that. I am going to do a better job of that one of my next trips because I love just sitting down and having that fruit snack and water that literally like cooled me off and was very refreshing. Also got like coffee creamer for the room. I got instant oatmeal for the room that I could do first thing in the morning. I also got yogurt for a little bit of protein. So I would have the oatmeal and then I would have the yogurt after that. That usually in the mornings would hold me over for at least a little bit. I also did get like a salad as well, like a pre-made salad. I did end up having that on my arrival day. Since I got there so early, I got the burger for lunch, and then for dinner I had the salad, and that held me over until I was in the parks the next day. Almost forgot. I also got 2 Lunchables. Now I knew that on my Magic Kingdom day when I was going to be there for like a 16-hour stretch, I was just going to need a little thing. I didn't think I necessarily needed like a full meal, but just like a little snack. So I did have that. I also knew that I was going to be sitting outside for a good almost 2 hours before Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So I had that little treat as well, like that little snack, and I ate that while I was sitting there. And that also held me over as well until I got in the park to like actually eat. Anyway, that was great for me to have like outside of the park and just have that quick little snack. When saying all that, whenever you're trying to budget, especially if you are going to be in the parks for a kids meal, I would budget about $15 per person per meal. When it comes to an adult meal though, I would budget $25 per person per meal for an adult quick service meal, and that will make sure to include the meal itself and the drink. And then, you know, if you have any left over, you can buy some souvenirs. But I usually overshoot just a little bit with that $15 and $25 price point when it comes to budgeting for quick service meals in the parks. Now the thing that I'm most excited for, and that is my outfit. So if you watched all of my like home vlogs, the prep before I got there, my pack with me, you know that I did something a little bit different, and I went outside of my comfort zone and finally like dip my toe into some Disney style outfits, and I did very well. I am very proud of myself. I was dressed differently than most people. Whenever you're gonna dip your toe into like a Disney style, it's almost like art. It really is. It is about expressing your love for whatever that you are either Disney bounding or the bag charms that you have, you know, just how you portray it on you in clothing. It is absolutely creativity and art. And with saying that, you know, for me, I wasn't looking for validation that my outfits were cute. However, I was hoping to get like somebody who appreciated them, like the stuff that I had on, because most of what I had on was vintage, and I did get a couple of comments. So to know that there are people out there like me that loved the stuff that you really have to dig for to find, that was just everything. Now, 3 of my outfits were long sleeve. 2 of them were actually 4, because I added in the Target outfit. I did end up getting that Target outfit, which was long sleeve as well. So 2 outfits, the tops were linen. They were really light, very airy, very breathable, did very well. The outfit from Target was a cotton material, a little bit on the thicker side as far as like what the linen was. Maybe not as breathable, but I know, so I didn't wash it before I wore it, I just wore it. So you can judge me all you want, but I wanted to wear that outfit for the Starlight Parade, so I did, and enjoyed every second of it. And then the last outfit that I had that was long sleeve was a lighter denim, and that actually did very well. I was a little worried, I'm not gonna lie. I was wearing that just for the Disney style, just for the pictures, but it actually did very well. I didn't sweat any more than if I was wearing my t-shirt outfit or the tank top outfit that I had on. I felt like it was the same either way. So I did very well. I will say there were 2 nights when I had the long sleeve shirt on where I thought I was going to lose it. So things were compounding on top of that. So number one, I was in the middle of everybody where no airflow was coming through. It was like right after Disney Starlight and then getting ready for Happily Ever After. And then the second thing is, you know, whenever you're getting older in age, those hot flashes just kill you. And I wasn't eating the best. Drinking Coke sets it off. Being in the heat set it off. So it was just like in the middle of just everything at once. So hot flash was going on. No air was going through. I did have a long sleeve shirt on and I was like, oh my goodness, I thought I was going to lose it. But I did okay. I was able to just close my eyes, take a deep breath, let the hot flash pass, and then I was good to go. Came to my park bags. The main thing that I used as my park bag was my canvas bag, and I did get a lot of questions is if it hurt my shoulders or not. So I'm normally a backpack person, but again, I am trying to step out of my comfort zone, and because I want to do the Disney style thing, a canvas bag may not be practical for everybody. At first, I will say, since I am a Disney backpack person, that I felt off the first couple of days. It was just different. And then also knowing that I had to like stop everything that I was doing to get into the canvas bag because it wasn't compartmentalized like I have my backpack. So that was a little annoying as well. But as my trip progressed, I just kept reminding myself that I'm doing something that's out of my comfort zone. I'm doing something different. So of course it's going to feel off. By the end of the trip, I was fine. Since the canvas bag had thicker straps, it was not bad as far as like cutting into my shoulder. It wasn't any worse than if I was wearing a backpack after I hadn't been wearing a backpack for months. So was it a little sore? Yes, it was a little sore, but again, not any more sore than if I was just like pulling out my backpack for the first time in months and then wearing that as well. So would I do it again and have the canvas bag and do the Disney style thing and have the aesthetic? Absolutely, I will. But again, I know that for most of you, that is probably not like reality. Like you need a backpack to be able to corral people and get through the park. Either that or just have like a small crossbody, whatever you wanted. So, but I had fun doing it, and I had fun being able to with the canvas bag. I made it into a Donald canvas bag one day and then a Mickey canvas bag the next day. Definitely had a lot of fun with that and can't wait to do it up in Christmas style for the November trip. Even my pumpkin purse was a hit. I was very excited about that, and I strictly had that outfit and that bag for the pictures specifically. That was it. There was no comfort in that. There was no practicality in that outfit or the bag. So getting on rides and doing things like whenever I rode Space Mountain, I was like, where the heck am I going to put this thing? But it did fit under my legs and I did well. But yeah, so I was very excited. I did get a couple of compliments on the bag itself. So I was happy with my DIY for someone who is not a DIYer. Yeah, very proud of myself. Other weather-related notes for you. I will say that my expectations of sitting at home and writing out all of the videos that I wanted to do versus when I got there, I had to scrap 5 videos. 5 videos had to be like cut because I just did not have the energy or the brain power to be able to do multiple videos in one day. So the most that I could handle was 2 videos a day. That is basically what I was doing. The day after Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I had planned to be at the resort that morning and get the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party video edited and up and then hit Epcot that night. Well, once I got the video up and done, it was almost 5 o'clock and I sat there. I almost went. I almost did. But then I thought about all the other things that I had to do later in the trip, how early I had to be up. The next day it was going to be another early day. So I just decided to take an entire full day off, which was not scheduled to do in the trip. So that right there, I had to scrap 2 videos just from that day specifically. So, you know, I live in Texas and I am used to the heat. I am. But getting there and just forgetting just how you feel, just all the stimulation, everything that was going on. I haven't been to Walt Disney World in 2 years, just because last summer my daughter was pregnant and I literally didn't go anywhere until the baby was born and good to go. Mom was good, baby was good. I was not leaving. It was a personal choice. That's what I did. So I was not in Walt Disney World for the summer of 2024. So it has technically been almost 2 years since I have been. And you know, you just forget things. You just forget like the things that you need to remember about slowing down, taking time, sleeping in, the breaks that you need. I mean, it was in the back of my head, but I'm an overachiever and, you know, type A kind of person and a perfectionist. So I wanted everything to be perfect. This is what I was going to do and just had everything lined out. Well, it did not work out that way. I am very happy that I scrapped the videos that I did. Most of them I could actually do at home there, but I wanted to have fun with them and be in the parks, but it is something that I could have done at home. So if I knew I could film it at home, those are the videos that scrapped. If I knew I had to be there to film it, those are the ones that took precedence. Even one of the videos that I did not film was being in Epcot, so I filmed all the entrances of all of the parks because from now until, goodness, 2030, so many things are going to be changing with rides down, lands changing and all of that. So I wanted to do an update land by land of things to expect. Just so that you know everything for the next couple of years and you're not walking into a trip thinking that something is going to be happening and it's actually closed and you're upset. So anyway, one of those had to get scrapped and that was the Epcot one. So I'll pick that back up whenever I go back in November because I have a full week after my family leaves where I'm actually like working and doing all the videos that I need to catch up on. My UV umbrella was like a godsend. Like it helped so much, especially sitting out in front of the park for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I literally picked a spot where the sun was just like beaming down on me. So I was literally like this underneath the umbrella because it was just so hot. And then my handheld fan as well, that helped tremendously. I did test out my New Balance 1080s. This was the first trip that I wore them on and oh my goodness, and I never thought that I would say this, but I liked them better over my Brooks, my Ghost Brooks. The last trip, so yeah, in March, I had the Brooks and that's basically what I wore the entire trip. Oh my goodness, my feet were just like on cloud 9. With these New Balance 1080s, even better. Even better. Next trip, I am hoping to get a pair of Asics. Asics are the next one that I want to try and be like sort of stylish and then comfortable in the park. So I'm having fun like trying out a different kind of shoe each trip to be able to report back. And last, crowds. Now I cannot speak to crowds too much as far as rides go because I hardly rode anything this trip. Hardly at all. I think the only day that I really rode anything, the 2 days that I really rode anything was the day that I was in Magic Kingdom for the party day because that was a specific video, and then Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. For the most part, yeah, I hardly rode anything any other time, and I'm okay with that. I'm getting to the point to where I don't have to ride anything whenever I go. Just being in the parks is enough for me. I will say though, it was very busy. Getting in line for Disney Starlight Parade, Happily Ever After, you know, this trip was focused on being in Magic Kingdom every night that I possibly could to see how the crowds dispersed, how they went, how they maneuvered for the nighttime entertainment. And I will say that it was busy. So I can only imagine like what ride waits looked like. Like I said, I hardly looked at what the ride waits were because I didn't ride anything. I will also say that being in Magic Kingdom on a party day was just perfection. So much perfection that I am seriously going to take a look at my November trip and see if we can switch things around where we are in Magic Kingdom during a morning just for rides specifically. Yes, I am about to like sit down. I haven't even looked at the November trip and gone through my planning notebook or anything like that. I needed to get the stuff ready for this, like the trip video, and just get all of my thoughts organized before I could even begin on the next trip. So, but that is the next home vlog that I'll be doing this week, is setting that up and just redirecting my attention and getting ready for the November trip. So I will take you along like on my thoughts and things like that things that I'm budgeting for, things that I'm looking at, things how I'm scheduling them, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, Cinderella's Royal Table, those are on the list, and so all of that. So that is coming at you in more than likely like the next home vlog that I do, getting ready for the toddler trip. I do want to add one more thing in there as far as like crowds go. So I was in the app with a family that I helped plan for, and helping them with their multi-pass lightning lanes in Epcot. They were a party of 7. I could not, for the life of me, score a Remy's or a Frozen lightning lane for them all day long. So if you are a larger party and one person is handling the lightning lane multipass, I will say Epcot is one of the hardest parks to be able to do that with. It gets a lot easier when you're a party of 4 or under. The slots seem to be open more, but when you're a larger party, it does get harder. So I do want to say that you need to have backup plans, especially in Epcot. So if you're going for Test Track as your tier 1, and then the other ones, Frozen or Remy's, just know that it's going to be harder for you to try and get. I did suggest for them, if they did not mind splitting up, especially for Remy's, that they could use the single rider line. And a couple of them, one of them did end up using the single rider line to be able to ride, but everybody else just wanted to eat and drink around the world. So actually, they weren't upset that they couldn't get the rides with the Lightning Lane Multipass, but it was just another eye-opener for me. Usually whenever I'm in the app, it's usually just me. So it's easy for me to be able to get rides because I am just one person versus a larger party. So just know, with Epcot specifically, you do need to have backup plans. If you're going to have tier 1, so the backup plans need to be for Frozen, Remy's, and Test Track. So if you're going to have tier 1 as a Lightning Lane Multipass, then you probably need to try and rope drop another one, whichever one that you're, out of those 3 that you don't have. And like if you're staying at a Skyliner resort, I would rope drop Remy's because it's literally going to be a quick, easy right there coming in at the back of the park. If you're coming in at the front of the park, I would either rope drop like Test Track or rope drop Frozen Ever After. Either one. Test Track's going to be a closer walk for you than Frozen is. But just things that I want you to be thinking about. The rest of the stuff, it was fairly easy to get, but Epcot was the hardest. It really was the hardest for a family of 7, all trying to get the same time frames. There you go, in a nutshell. I hope that these trip reports help just to kind of give you like a behind the scenes look and things that did work, that didn't work, things that I test out. And, if you have a Disney crazy brain like me, then hopefully you enjoyed and were entertained just a little bit. I do have a lot of videos coming at you for everything that I filmed there, so make sure that you push that subscribe button and also that notification bell so that you are notified when the next video is live. I'm Terry with Creating the Magic. Have a magical day.